Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, and I got another review for you. This is Superman versus Lobo, book number 2. It is the prestige black format magazine size book. It is written by Tim Seeley and Sarah Beattie. Then it is artist by Mirka Andolfo. It is colors by Arif Prianto and letters by Fabio Amelia. Again, this is book 2, so to catch you up, it is basically it is about a creature known as Newman, and Newman is galaxy size. He has dimensions and multiverses living within him. And in the beginning of the story, Lobo ends up like punching him because he gets mad that his adventure is interrupted, and even though it is a violent and forceful attack, it ends up actually helping this Newman thing. Superman does get kind of tied into it, but with both of them kind of helping this Newman being and not knowing what he really is or anything, Newman has granted them the ability of restoring their homeworlds and sending them back to their respected homeworlds and giving them peace and time to enjoy their new time on their respected homeworlds that have been destroyed all that time before. Kind of putting their homeworlds in magical bubbles that no one can get into or bother them or kind of thing. The big like tie up in the stories, the creature Newman confuses which hero to go to which planet. So Lobo goes to Krypton, and Superman to Shazar, I think it's called. Shazarian. I know I'm mispronouncing Lobo's. I don't even know how to say his race. I think it's Shazarans. But okay, so anyways, the book basically starts out and it's like both respective worlds trying to find, the person that they're tied to. We have like the Justice League and Lois Lane, that kind of stuff, trying to find out what happened to Superman. And basically, like, they, with the use of Martian Manhunter, they do find out that Krypton has been resurrected, but Superman's presence is not on Superman, but they do find Lobo there. And then the Green Lanterns, they do find that Superman that Shazarian has returned the planet, and Superman is on Shazarian. Now, there is that whole part where they cannot talk to or bother or even make it into the planet, and it goes the opposite. Like, Superman can't leave the planet, or Lobo can't leave either. They're kind of stuck in their respective planets, and how it goes is like their planets are, it's like a year. He resurrected them like a year before the events that like fail the planet. So like Krypton, in a year, if nothing changes, it's still going to be destroyed. And same thing with Shazarian. But with Shazarian, Lobo was the cause of the destruction, so without him being there, it'll keep on going. The majority of the story is set up with Superman in this book, and it's following Superman, and it's kind of like the opposite, because you find this story where it's like you think they would both have problems. Lobo actually succeeds on Krypton, and Superman is the one that fails, but not because either or. Lobo kind of succeeds because there was this small resistance of people that were trying to do this primitive version of Krypton to save the planet. They thought, like, if they went backwards with technology, it would stop what was happening. And since Lobo's violent and destructive, they kind of back him up, and he's kind of seen as like their little king or something like that. On Superman's side, and that since he is away from our yellow sun, and Shazarian has a red sun, he doesn't have any powers, and Lobo was the only like kind of evil that came from Shazarian, and the rest of the planet is supposed to be like neighborly and friendly, and there's no crime, no violence, none of that. So the majority of the book is them kind of dealing with what they got, and without them, like, getting out of their respective kind of magical bubbles kind of thing. In the background, we do have the scientist from the first book that has been following them. She's kind of like in the fourth dimension, because she's able to, like, teleport and all kind of stuff, but she's kind of in the background. But she's just been studying Superman and Lobo, and in this book we do find out that she has had a crush on Lobo, and that's one of the reasons she's been following him around. and Superman's kind of really surprised because he sees Lobo as the worst of the worst, like even darker than Darkseid and a bunch of the other threats in the DC universe. But she just explains like the reason why she likes him and kind of thing. It's a small part of the story, but we do see the scientists kind of like going back and forth between the two. And I call him heroes. I don't see Lobo as a villain. I do see him as an anti-hero or an anti-villain, but I don't see him as a villain. He usually does fight for the good side, but he is a mercenary, so I mean he's more like he's just doing his job kind of thing. So in the story it progresses, and Lobo does end up like getting kind of like a queen type entity, and he does end up having a big sexual adventure there. And so Superman, on the other hand, starts uncovering this mystery that he finds out that someone on the planet is siphoning his DNA, and he doesn't know why. Back to Lobo, it's kind of the same thing where the woman just slept with Lobo just to get his DNA, and him being as badass and everything as the Kryptonians believe in, they DNA mass clone this army from Lobo's DNA, and they basically they intend to destroy any like remnants of Lobo to make sure that they're the only ones that have that clone. So basically they send the Lobo army to Jazarin to have it killed again, just like history. Superman, on the other end, finds out that the lady he's been staying with, which is a character from an old Lobo comics, Mrs. Tibbs, but which happens to be like his 5th grade teacher, I think it was, his math teacher. But Mrs. Tibbs has been siphoning Superman's powers away from Superman, but not in an evil way, but just because it was there kind of thing. Because she does like Superman, and he has been like staying there, and but it's not an evil thing. It's no like, but she does explain that she's been stealing his energy or what have you to make this other weapon. And she does explain that even though the world around him looks that way, that Lobo did destroy the world before, and they remember the outcome of what happened before. She tells him that Caesarion was always going to kill themselves because she has him look a little closer at their society, and everybody's kind of doing the same thing that she is. They're all building these weapons of mass destruction. They're all just being like very sly about it, where they're doing it in the background and stuff, but when you see them in person, they're like, "Hey neighbor, how's it going? I love you, bro." But behind them, they're like, "Yeah man, I'm about to kill all these people, yeah." And that's really what's going on. They do break over where like because Krypton was re-released, the Phantom Zone comes back into effect. General Zod does show up and tries to like take over Krypton, which like Lobo brutally kills like Zod and his people because they're not powered up versions. They're just regular Kryptonians without the yellow sun. Eventually it ends up being this mass of like where like like Superman trying to save the planet Shazarian against all these Lobo clones. Lobo eventually gets pissed off because he's the only, he's the main man. He doesn't have unofficial clones running around, so he does tag team and join in the fun with Superman, and they eventually, with the help of Mrs. Tibbs, they do eventually kill off all the clones. And Superman actually uses like one of Lobo's like creations, this butt slug thing, to kill off all the clones. At the very end of the comic, we do have the scientist that kind of takes them from those worlds. She finally like breaks her code because she's supposed to be like just a watcher. She's not supposed to interfere kind of thing. But she does interfere, and she takes both of them respectively out of the magical globes and tells them there's a bigger problem with Newman, and that something has happened with Newman, and that there is like this evil force, this group, and this group is in the world, it's like a legion of evil, let's say, but a galaxy type of legion of evil, and because as far as I can tell, they were all new looking villains, but they're basically after Newman, and if they achieve killing Newman, it could be the destruction of everything and all the multiverses kind of thing. So basically, like now, Superman and Lobo are going to have to team up and go after them. But that's where this issue leaves off. I mean, this book started out and it was just a fun, like, Superman versus Lobo type thing. I mean, and where they went in this issue, I mean, not only was it a great read and the art, come on, I love Mirka. If y'all don't know me, but I love Mirka. But it was just such a great read. There was so much story in it. I mean, you talk about, I think this book sells for $7.99. This book was definitely like worth your $7.99. Now, as far as like anything major happening, I don't know. I mean, it was the first appearance of that group, which I can show you the group, and we can go backwards from there. And this is a giant book because it's a magazine-sized book but for $8, it was really good. The art is just amazing. But I can show you what the group looks like. But that's them. That's going to be like the next cover that's coming out. You do get another picture of them right here. And Mirka did a real good job of drawing them and everything. It kind of reminds me of Stormwatch. Like he does. He's the one that looks familiar, but I still can't really place him. Just some different shots. Hey, Mirka, I love the way she draws Lobo. I mean, she does an excellent job of. It really reminds me of the '90s version of Lobo. This whole book, the way, the whole story in general, it feels more like a Lobo book more than a Superman book. But there we go, Mrs. Tibbs, you know, right there. Let me show. I can give you the best scene for last. I can give you a. You know, if you can zoom in, there you go. Lobo after his ritual with the lady and being cloned right there. Yeah, but there you go, man. That's my review. I will see y'all soon. Y'all have a good one.